Hello, friends. Welcome to Level Up with Debbie Neal. I am your host. There is nowhere I would rather be than right here, right now with you. This podcast is all about leveling up in all aspects of our lives. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Together, we are leveling up. You ready? Hello, my friends. Happy Love Week. Today, we're going to be talking about something that doesn't always, get invited into leadership conversations. We're going to talk about love. So it's Valentine's Day week. I love everything about love. I think love makes everything better. It's like the condiment in life that makes everything better. When you focus on love, love expands. So when we focus on what we love about our family, those things just get magnified. When we think about what we love about our partner, our wife, our husband, our business, our everything, when you focus on what you love, you attract more of what you love into your life. But that's not exactly what we're talking about today. We're going to just really be talking about love and leadership and how that together is so powerful. And so sometimes people hear the word love when combined with leadership and they think, oh, it's like kind of soft and like corny. But that's not the kind of love that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the love that's fluffy. I'm not talking about the love that's like, oh my gosh, you're the best, you're amazing. Not that we don't affirm a life over people. It's not coddling. It's not people pleasing. It's not lowering the standards so everybody feels comfortable. So this kind of love is really strong. It's the love that goes first. It's the love that stays when things get hard. It's the love that calls people higher instead of keeping them small. So when you think about just that sentence alone, do you know how many times people think, okay, that leadership is like, oh, I know you have so much in your life. I know you don't have time for your business. Like, I know you've had a rough couple of months. Like, I know that you're tired. So just like relax, like they don't want to push that person. When somebody looks me in the face and says, this is my why, this is what I want to create, this is what I want to become, this is what I want to earn, I'm going to call people higher. And I'm going to do it because I love you, because I believe in you. And that's something I say all the time. Like you might hear this, not this particular thing, but if I'm coaching someone and you might want to punch me in the face, but I love you enough to tell you the truth. Okay. And here's what I know to be true. The greatest leaders that I have ever met lead with love. And so whether they're using the word love or not, they're leading with love. Okay. So I want to like spend some time today and kind of redefine and talk about love and leadership. And what a perfect week to do it. We're going to talk about what it really looks like in action, why it takes more courage to love than control, and how love becomes the thing that actually creates results, growth, and legacy. Like, is that why you're here? Because when I'm an entrepreneur and when I think about growing my business, I want to drive results. I want to create growth. And I absolutely am passionate about building a legacy that lives on way beyond my years. Okay. So when we mentioned this at the beginning, but love is not coddling. So why don't we just start right here? Because this is where a lot of people get confused and they get it wrong. Love isn't coddling. Love is not rescuing people from discomfort. Love is not lowering the bar so no one feels challenged. If you're coached by me, if you're led by me, if you do business with me, I'm going to challenge you. That's why I love what I do. I don't just sell great products. I call people higher. I want to get inside your heart. I want to get inside your soul. I want to remind you of what you're made of, what you're capable of, and I want to challenge you to be more. And so when we lower the bar so people don't feel challenged, that's not love. It's not love. Honestly, it's actually selfish. And it's also fear dressed up as kindness. Like, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of losing people? Are you afraid of people being upset with you. And when you feel that way, usually that comes down to worthiness. And we feel that way kind of if we're not doing what we need to do. We're not holding up our standard. We don't focus on excellence. We're not practicing self love. And so, how can we demand that of others? And when I say demand, I mean calling people higher. How can we do that if we don't do that for ourselves? So, true love in leadership says, I believe in you enough to tell you the truth. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is hold the standard. Like, what are your standards? Your standards are what you allow. Is it a standard that you maintain your management level, or is it a standard for you that you're okay falling beneath the bar? Is it a standard for you that you plug in and show up to all the meetings, or is it a standard for you that you show up when it's convenient? Is it a standard for you if you're on a Zoom meeting that you are there, you are dressed, you are professional, you're in a well-lit area, you are showing up like you're running the show? Or is it a standard for you that your camera's off? And I joke about this all the time, but I'm very serious. Okay. And so we're so blessed that we're allowed to do, not allowed. We build a lot from our phones, from our computers. So I could run a leadership Zoom with leaders in all the countries that my company is in. And it's like having a boardroom meeting, but not being together. But before all this, we did every single thing in person. Like people drove hours, they flew to come to these meetings. And of course, we do some in person, but now people think success is convenient. And it's like, oh, I'm on, but I'm in the middle of cooking. Why are you in the middle of cooking? There's a meeting going on. Is your standard because would a top leader, would a top earner behave that way? So again, hold the standard. Because if you don't hold the standard, you'll never be able to sit down with somebody that says, I'm ready to level up and say, well, why don't we start with showing up? Why don't we start with turning your camera on? Because if your standard is that yours is not on, you can't hold them to that standard. So you'll allow them to fall beneath their potential because you're not valuing yourself. So growth requires resistance. And if you're constantly cushioning yourself and if you're cushioning people from feedback, and again, the way you're able to give feedback, the way you're able to hold people accountable, the way you need to hold yourself there first. But if you're constantly cushioning people from feedback, accountability, or consequences, you're not leading, you're managing comfort. And then we're like, well, why isn't our business growing? I don't know if I love my business anymore. Well, you don't love your business because your business is not a business right now. It's a brownie troop. Okay. And comfort never changed anyone's life. Are you here to change lives? I'm here to change lives. I started my business 20 years ago to change my life and the lives of others. And it is impossible to change people's lives without calling ourselves higher so we could call others. So love says, I won't abandon you, but I also won't lie to you. So another thing that love does in leadership, love goes first. They go first. So I remember when I started my business 20 years ago, I looked people in the face and said, I'm building to the top of my company. I'm going to show you what's possible. Hold my hand. There are no guarantees of your success, but what I can guarantee you is I will see this through. I will be here. I will light the way. You could borrow my belief. You could borrow my vision. So leaders go first. How would my team ever believe in what was possible if I didn't go first? So many times we think, well, like I'm giving them the information. People aren't looking for information. They're looking for inspiration. They're looking to be inspired. So love doesn't wait for buy-in. So in other words, whether people believe in you or not, whether people want to buy from you or not, you're not waiting for buy-in. You're going first. I remember at my first in-home event, I had like 25 of my neighbors there. I thought they would all want to join my business. And they were like, Deb, like, show me this works and maybe we'll do it. I'm like, if I was waiting for their buy-in, like approval, I would have never led my team to the top. So I was like, I remember when they left, I felt like a little bit fizzled and I was like, well, how am I going to build this? Like I need a team. Well, they were a not now. They were a not now. So I had to love them enough to go first. And there was people in that room that said, show me. and I went and did it. And they ended up joining my business because I had to love them enough to go first. Love, you don't wait for motivation. You go first. You don't wait. You're self-disciplined. You have self-respect. You live in your word. You create a vision, and you don't wait for motivation. You don't wait for everyone else to behave the way you want them to. In an ideal world, everybody does what they say they're going to do. People schedule events, people join your business, people buy from you. The existing leaders on their team live in your word. It doesn't always work that way. You go first. You model the behavior. You take responsibility. You own the tone. You own the energy and the culture. And so if you have a culture right now of a bunch of people on your team that are not even maintaining their management level, I'm saying this with love. It started with you. When did it become okay to fall beneath the bar? When? And if that's you right now, say, I'm going to change this. I'm going to be the hardest working person on my team. I'm going to put the most activity on the calendar. I'm going to enroll tons of new teammates, not one here and there, tons of new teammates, because I'm going to always be in a place of abundance. So love goes first. Other examples of this is love apologizes first. In a leader, you don't need to be right. Okay. We don't need to prove ourselves. They take the hit first. They believe first. They forgive first. There's a lot of forgiving in leadership, a lot. And let me be really clear. This is not forgiveness. This is strength under control, that you can manage your expectations and love people enough. Going first requires humility. It requires emotional regulation. It requires confidence that is not threatened by ego. When we have a really big ego, we're not focused on love. We're not focused on serving others. We might be focused on being right. We might be focused on not forgiving because somebody hurt our feelings or did something. You have to remember this. Hurt people hurt. You're a leader. So let's not take this personal. The leader who goes first creates safety. They create safety, and safety is what allows people to rise. When they feel safe in your leadership, knowing they can count on you. They can, and when I say safe, I don't mean that you're not going to challenge them. I will always challenge my team, but I pray to God they know that they trust me, that I'm here, that I'm not confused, that I'm not conflicted, that I'm not distracted with outside noise. They feel safe in my leadership. Love stays the course, friends. And what I've seen a lot in this industry is, and I'm not here to judge, but what happens sometimes is we get so distracted looking at what's going on social media. And if we're not happy somewhere, maybe the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. And one of the things I'm so proud of is I've been with the same company for 20 years. And I say this all the time. Now, I'd like to think whatever company you're with, you believe they're the best. Okay. I'm not with my company only because I love my company and because I love everything about it. I'm there because I'm a really smart businesswoman and I know it's the best. And when I come up to a challenge and when I've dropped to my knees and when I've had challenging months, I know the lid is me. I know God is leading me to the next level, and it's not just about going somewhere else, because new level, new devil, okay? Anyone can lead when it's easy. Anyone can be inspiring when things are going well. But you know when love really shows up? When progress feels really slow. Sometimes it feels like you're moving in quicksand. Sometimes it feels like you're sinking. Love shows up when people disappoint you, when results are not showing up fast enough, and love still stays the course. It doesn't quit on people the moment they fall short. People will fall short. They will say they're going to do something and not do it. And a lot of times it's because they just don't believe they can. Our belief dictates our actions, and we operate at our belief level. And love doesn't withdraw support because feelings got hurt. But I want to say this really clearly. Staying the course does not mean tolerating misalignment. Love is patient, but it's not passive. Staying the course means continuing to lead with integrity, continuing to hold the vision, continuing to model excellence, even when it would be easier to check out emotionally. Every time I've seen a leader check out emotionally, you know what happened months before that? They stopped holding themselves to a higher standard. The people who are checked out stopped maintaining, stopped earning their bonuses, stopped showing up like a top leader, and then all of a sudden they allowed themselves to be emotionally taken out of the game. And if you're hearing this and you want to punch me in the face, I love you enough to tell you the truth. Love is also about being the evidence. I hold that with a really high responsibility. As leaders, we don't just talk the talk, we demonstrate. Love doesn't just explain the standard, love is the standard. So if you're going to look at your leaders and say, hey, there's an incentive trip out, it's really important for your business and your leadership for you to earn it, but then you don't make earning it a priority. You know what happens then? The leader stops talking about the trip because they feel out of alignment. I love when people say, I feel out of alignment. Of course you do. You feel out of alignment because you're not doing what you said you were going to do. Of course you feel out of alignment. Okay. Love is the standard. 2026 is the year you launch your business, the year you transform into an entrepreneur, founder, boss. One powerful move puts the future firmly in your hands. Starting a business with Shopify. Maybe you've got an idea you can't shake, a craft everyone tells you to sell, a store you've already designed in your head. With Shopify, 2026 is when you finally make it happen. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Shopify gives you all the tools to easily build your dream store. Choose from hundreds of beautiful templates that you can customize to match your brand. Marketing is built in too. Create email and social campaigns that reach customers wherever they scroll. As you grow, Shopify grows with you. Handle more orders, expand to new markets, and do it all from the same dashboard. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/level up. Go to shopify.com/level up. That's shopify.com/level up. Hear your first this new year with Shopify by your side. You are the evidence of what's possible. You're the evidence of what's required. There's a certain level of requirements to succeed in anything. You're the evidence of what excellence looks like. You don't ask people to do what you're unwilling to do. You show up prepared. You follow through. You do what you say you're going to do. You're consistently building trust. Your example builds belief. And you know what that happens? That's love in action. When you are doing this over and over and over again, that's love in action. That's loving your team enough to love and lead them and show them the way. And there will be people that don't follow. You can model excellence and still not have excellence duplicated, but you still hold yourself to that standard. Love empowers other people. Leadership is not control. Control limits people. Love empowers them. Empowering leadership doesn't mean abandoning guidance. It doesn't mean like, you know what, I'm going to empower my leaders. I'm not going to be on the calls. I'm not going to show up. Like, they've got this. I'm going to enjoy my time. No, what it means is you're transferring ownership. So love says things like, I trust you to think. I trust you to grow. I trust you to lead. Okay. And empowerment looks like giving people room to make decisions. Sometimes they'll be the wrong decisions. I have watched people on my team all of a sudden, especially at like VP level, start to buddy up with different VPs, whether it be on my team or different teams. And sometimes I'm like, wow, that's a great connection. And sometimes I'm thinking, that's a dangerous connection. It's a dangerous connection because I know that I know everybody's business. So who stopped working? Who stopped focused on excellence? Who's complaining? Who's justifying? And now when two people become friends, I'm like, oh, excuse my language. That's an actual shit show about to happen. But it's not my place to call up those leaders and say, I don't think this relationship is a good relationship. They need to make decisions and realize on their own that was not a great decision, because misery loves company, and excellence loves to be challenged. Okay. So empowerment is giving people the room to make decisions, but at the same time, modeling excellence and leading the way. Because what you don't want to be right. You just want to be what's possible. And so when they realize that relationship might not be serving them or their business, they'll be able to look at you and be like, wow, they stayed the course. They didn't speak poorly about anybody. They're continuing to earning the trips. They're continuing to grow their business. And I'm hanging out over here with Joe Schmo who can't get out of their way to save their own life. Okay. So it's letting your leaders learn through experience. It's coaching them instead of micromanaging. Micromanaging is the absolute worst thing the leader could do to the team. What you're saying is, you're not enough. I don't trust you. Everything has to be done by me. And if you don't do it right, you're going to be reprimanded. Okay. When people feel trusted, they rise. When they feel controlled, they shrink. And so what love does is it expands people. Another thing that love is, it's excellence. It really is. So let's talk for a minute about excellence. What excellence is love made visible. When you care deeply, you prepare deeply. You prepare to show up correctly. You prepare to communicate with your team. You prepare to earn things and raise the bar. When you love your mission, you don't cut corners. When you love people, you don't waste their time. So excellence says something like this: you matter enough for me to do this business really well. And sloppiness isn't grace. Low standards are not compassion. One of my dear friends, and she's a top leader. She's actually going to be an upcoming guest on my podcast. Her name is Carlita Nelson. She's amazing. She teaches me how to be a better leader. She teaches me how to be a better mom. She teaches me how to be a better friend. And she, to me, is one of the people that just exemplifies the way we should be living like Jesus. Okay. And so she came on one of my VP calls, and she said, we were talking about love too, because it's love month. And she said, people think that tough is not loving people. Like, if we poor baby, I'm going to poor baby you. I'm going to oh, poor baby, oh, poor baby. They have a lot going on. Or poor baby, they have no time for their business. Or poor baby, they set a goal and missed it. Or poor baby, they're doing this. If we coddle them, whether that's our children, whether that's our team, you're gonna breed a lot of poor babies that are poor. So excellence honors people. Low standards are not compassion. It's not love. Great leaders don't confirm people where they are. They invite them to who they can become. And this matters because love does not arrive. Love does not coast. Love doesn't settle for good enough. Love doesn't say, well, this is just how it is. This is just how it's going to be. Love refuses to justify stagnation. Love says, there's more here. There's more I can do, and I'm reaching for it, and I'm creating it. Love sees potential before it's visible. It calls people out of small thinking. Love calls people out of limiting stories. Like, is that story true? Is that story serving you? I love people say, I'm too old for this. Is that a fact? Is that is that a fact? I missed my time. Is that a factual statement? No, it's a limiting story. Love calls people out of their comfort zones, and here's the key. Love rises. It elevates its own standards. It expands its own capacity. It grows first, so there's room for others to grow too. Love doesn't pull people up by force. Love lifts people higher and invites others to come with them. And yes, sometimes people will resist that. They will. Because you know what growth does? It threatens who people are today. But love doesn't shrink the vision to avoid discomfort. Love keeps the invitation open. Another thing about love, it is selfless, it shows up, and it keeps its word. And so leadership is not about how you feel, because if I ran my business on how I am this podcast, you guys, I would be lying if I said every single day when I sat down to prepare ideas, I'm so excited about it. Most days I am. Some days I don't feel like it. I don't. I have either a busy day or an emotional day or stuff going on in my personal life. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I'm like, and then once I'm like, no, I'm staying true to my commitment. I love my podcast. I love my audience. I love our Level Up family. I love the gift of leadership God has instilled in me. And then once I start doing it, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Okay. But so it's leadership is not how you feel. It's about what you're committed to do. I'm committed that every single week on Monday, you hear an episode from me. I'm committed that every single Wednesday, there's an affirmations episode that's 3 minutes long, that's in conjunction. So the one that'll drop Wednesday will be all about love and leadership. I'm committed to that. So love always shows up, not when it's convenient, not when it's applauded, not when it feels easy. Love shows up when you're tired. Love shows up when you're discouraged. Love shows up when nobody's watching because love keeps its word. Love honors its commitments, even when emotion fluctuate, and it will. Even when motivation dips, and it will. And this is where leadership becomes real. Anyone can make promises when they're inspired. Like, oh my gosh, I'm using myself. I'm starting a podcast. I'm going to drop an episode every Monday. Like that all seems good. Before I jumped in to do my podcast, I did my homework on it. Same thing when I did my homework before I started a business in the network marketing profession. I wanted to read about all the people that were crushing it. And I also wanted to read about all the people that said, this doesn't work, I'm not making money. And I realized in my profession, everybody has the ability to make money. That's why I love it so much. It's such an even playing field, but not everybody wants to do the work that's required. And so when I read about people who start a podcast, the idea is great, but then after a month or 2 months or 6 months or a year, they fizzle out. They just fizzle out because it's a huge level of commitment. And so I don't know where my point is, but if I said that I was going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I gave my word, you can count on me. And I want to say this really clearly. This is not about perfection. Love is about integrity. Selfless leadership doesn't mean you just keep doing it till you get burnt out. It means, which by the way, we're going to do an entire episode next week. If you're feeling burnt out, how to come back in a major way and why you're feeling the burnout and just how to grow through it. Okay. But what love means, it means purpose-driven leadership. You rest when needed. You refuel when needed, but you don't disappear when things get hard. Love doesn't ghost the mission. Love stays. What love also does is it lights the way. So love lights the way. In uncertainty, people look to leaders for clarity. I want to be one of those leaders that you can count on. If you're in my industry, it doesn't even matter if you're in my industry. You can always count on me for light of leadership. In chaos, they look for calm. In fear, they look for hope. So you know what love provides? Vision when things feel dark, stability when things feel shaky, direction when people feel lost. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to keep the light on and keep showing the way. So as I think about some final thoughts as we end our time together, I when you think about this year, choose to love, not the passive kind, not the someday kind. Choose to love this year on purpose. Love yourself enough to grow. Love yourself enough to tell yourself the truth. Love yourself enough to keep your commitments. Love your family enough to build the business and the dream that you shared with them. Love yourself enough to honor who you are becoming, not just who you've been. You don't need to rush the process. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you do need to stay present for it. Love who you are becoming, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it requires letting go of old versions of you. And as leaders, this is what I want you to remember. Love is not something you wait to have more of. Love is something that is inside of you and you share it every day. You share what you have. You share your time. You share your wisdom. You share your encouragement. You share your steadiness. And one of the main reasons you grow your business is so you can share your income. There are people praying for just a little bit more. You don't give from emptiness. You give from gratitude. So this is what I want you to think of. With gratitude, for what we have, gratitude for what we're building, gratitude for the people we get to lead and love, because leadership rooted in love changes everything. So lead with love, live with intention. Friends, I love you. Happy Love Week, happy Love Month, and let's level up your level of love because it has the ability to change everything in your life. I love you.